Is it reasonable when the head of the Russian Orthodox Church was a communist spy, KGB spy in the 1970s, sent to infiltrate churches to put a good spin on Russia? And then, of course, Putin was also KGB, and then the Soviet Union breaks down, and then they scramble to restructure things. And then the KGB spy ends up as a multi-billionaire head of the Russian Orthodox Church. Do you see why that might look suspicious?
Suspicious about what, though?
Well, you've got a KGB spy who becomes the head of the Russian Orthodox Church. And KGB spies had KGB spy ways of doing things. And so it would be one thing if there was some dramatic change of approach somewhere along the way, but it looks like they just kind of repackaged things and carried along the same way. And everyone who still remained loyal to whatever party came to power was rewarded with leadership and so on. Anyway, if I saw that, is that something someone might be reasonably suspicious about?
I mean, but what's the suspicion, though? The suspicion is what? That Russians are doing Russian shit? Like, is that what the suspicion is?
Well, it would be the same thing if there's a pastor or something like that, and I find out that he is a CIA spy sent to infiltrate churches back in the day, and he's just been sort of buddying up with the government the entire time, and looks like he's just kind of doing more of the same old. I'd be suspicious of any sort of leader who had that kind of background.
Okay, great. But your accusation is that this is tied into orthodoxy, specifically Jay Dyer and myself.
Well, not specifically.
So, like,
even
if I grant all of this, how the hell are you going to tie this all together with Jay Dyer, even if it's granted? Like here, I have an opening statement this time. You mind if I read it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. How long is it, by the way?
It's not long. It's just a couple of minutes.
Okay. No problem.
Okay. So, once again, I find myself here with David. And he, using his chat GPT research, has determined something remarkable, at least according to him, that myself and Jay Dyer work with Russia. Madam President David Clinton Wood has determined Russia is interfering in his Protestant business. And Comrade Wilson has figured out how to manipulate the system by being a double, triple, quadruple agent. Interesting. Yes, to the Candace fans, Comrade Wilson looking for the and to the lovers, Comrade Wilson is working for Russia, but they all have it wrong. I'm actually an agent of the Greenlandic Freedom Federation, here to infiltrate Trump's plan to annex my great nation. Yes, friends, as a member of the Greenlanders Against Annexation Freedom Fighting Association, it is my diabolical plan to make sure that Protestants who have been a thorn in our side for far too long be brought to heel under the great Greenlandic King of the North, and our subjugation of you will know no limits. Think about it. I'm constantly agreeing with Greenlandic propaganda. Just the other day, the mayor of Greenland tweeted, and I quote, "Holy shit, it's cold here." And I retweeted that. I claim to be from Michigan, but that was really just a cover to explain my mini jackets. The perfect cover for why I can withstand cold weather. People have trouble placing my accent, but that's because nobody knows what a Greenlandic accent sounds like because there's so few of us. I have been known to spread other Greenlandic conspiracy theories as well. For instance, when we saw that Australia may move to support Trump, I immediately began to spread the rumor that Australia isn't even real. Totally fake country, I said. I even gaslit many Australians into believing it as well. I've been at the forefront of a massive Greenlandic conspiracy right under your noses. It's crazy. And this guy wants to pretend I'm a Russian asset. Ha, I say. The boys got a good laugh when the dog sleds delivered them that mail, let me tell you. Whatever you got, David, for why I am a Russian Spire asset, I can't wait to hear it. Whatever you got for why Jay Dyer is a Russian Spire asset, I can't wait to hear it. But that is what you are claiming, and that is what you claimed in our Twitter back and forth, was that at least one of us is an asset, and that the Ortho Bros are assets. And I want you to actually take the time to back those claims up this time and actually prove that, David. That would be great. Because what I think is that you're doing associative nonsense, which is, oh, there's a loose connection here and a loose connection there and some loose connections over here. We're going to tie all that together and pretend that that means something or is meaningful in some way. And that's, by the way, what the Candace Owens people do. That's what all of those types of people do. And it's been my understanding that you very much don't like to do that, as you favor yourself as some sort of logician. So if that's the case, then I'd like to see some actual applied logic here. And I'd like for you to actually demonstrate it. For my stead, what I said back to you, to be totally fair, is that I believe that I can create more links between you and than you can between myself and Jay Dyer and Russia. Many more links, in fact. And I have brought video evidence for those various links from your own words. So as long as you have something on par with that, I sure like to hear it.
All right. Well, let's find out. And just to be clear on my view would be that that the Russians, well, they want to be on top of the Orthodox food chain. Let's say they want they don't want division between them and other Orthodox churches. They want a united Orthodox fronts, and that this is part of the plan on their part. I don't think most Orthobros have any clue how they're being used. I think some of the Russian Orthodox, may, but well, some of the Russian Orthodox
participate.
Other people don't.
All these people participate inside of the church and day in and day out, and not you. But somehow you were able to stumble across the fact that they're all just being used by Russia right under their noses. And they're so stupid that they can't see you. And you're so smart, of course, that you know this.
Totally. And it boggles the mind. It does boggle the mind
for sure.
Okay. Mr. Putin here and his connections. I'll be going into Mr. Putin separately, as I have to still go through some articles. But here he is kissing the Quran famously. Just wanted all the Orthobros to know that their hero, Mr. Putin, smooched the Quran. It's actually very interesting. Now we get to this Dugan guy. You familiar with Alexander Dugan? Yeah, big Candace Owens fan. So just careful what you say about Candace Owens, because he's her biggest fan. Check this out.
Dugan's a philosopher, dude.
Yeah,
he's a political philosopher.
He's called Putin's brain because he's the one with all the great big ideas. Anyway, so this is from his 1997 work, Foundations of Geopolitics. But he says the West as America. So right before this, he talked about two meanings of the West. He said you've got the West as in Europe and the West as America. And he's talking about the West as America here. The West as America is Russia's total geopolitical adversary, the pole and direct opposite trend to Eurasia, the headquarters and center of Atlanticism. Positional geopolitical warfare with America has constituted the essence of all Eurasian geopolitics since the mid-20th century, when the role of the United States became obvious. In this regard, the position is clear. It is necessary to counteract U.S. Atlanticist geopolitics at all levels and in all regions of the world, trying to weaken, demoralize, deceive, and ultimately defeat the enemy as much as possible. It is especially important to bring geopolitical turmoil into the U.S. domestic reality by encouraging all kinds of separatism, various ethnic, social, and racial conflicts, actively supporting all dissident movements of extremist, racist, and sectarian groups that destabilize internal political processes in the USA. And it goes on to say that isolationist tendencies in the U.S. should be encouraged to keep the U.S. from intervening in what's going on. So as far as what Dugan was saying there, He was saying causes much division, ideological division for America as possible. Again, this is the guy that's called Putin's brain. One more disturbing thing, and this just keeps popping up wherever it goes. Here's Dugan. Again, here's him on X. He says, by the way, Christian Orthodox prophecy identified the Messiah with the Antichrist too. Third aspect that explains our attitude to Protestant dispensationalist theology and evangelical Christians belong to the same group of concepts. Interesting that Islamic eschatology, not only Shia, but Sunni too, except Salafi, Wahhabi, blah, 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 coincides more or less with Christian Orthodox. The Muslims interpret and the modern West in general as Dajjal, exactly like us, Antichrist. And then according to some hadith, the final battle
that is interesting.
Yeah, according to some hadith, the final battle will be between the Dajjal and USA dispensationalists on the one hand, and the alliance of the Mahdi and Rum, Orthodox Christianity. So he's saying that some think that the final battle will be between the and USA dispensationalists on one side and the Orthodox on the other.
Well, that rascal. What a rascal.
Yeah, I know. That's Putin's brain there. That's the guy they call Putin's brain.
You wascally wabbit, that wascally wabbit, Putin's brain over there, Mr. By the way, he's not Putin's brain. He's not even a very well regarded Russian philosopher. So, okay. He had, I think I got his takes. Where are we going here? Are we getting somewhere eventually? Hopefully.
We're bringing it all together. So he wrote that.
How long is it going to take to bring it together? It's going to take a long time.
You asked me for evidence. If I don't give any evidence, you're going to say you've just said things you haven't give evidence.
But I don't want like Gish Gallop. Can you tie it off like so that we can get to what your point here?
Yeah. It's kind of I'm gonna tie it all together.
All right.
So he's saying that in 1997. Let me back up a little to 1987. We won't read all this because I have some screenshots here. But so yet another clique of top Communist Party officials who also appear to have had the blessing, blah, 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 blah. This is talking about them when they're realizing that the Soviet Union's breaking down and they need to come up with some other way of packaging things. We'll go ahead and skip to the end here. The last little sentence there in this section says, it was a bold attempt by conservatives within the party to transform communist ideology into something resembling a fusion of communism, nationalism, and Orthodox Christianity, with a dash of something known as cosmism. So the point here is you have all these when the Soviet Union is breaking down, you have all these ideas of how do we kind of move forward now. They realize that the spiritual deadness of just atheistic communism isn't enough to sustain people. So they said, we have to tie it together with some other things. We need it tied to nationalism, and we need it tied to the Orthodox Church. That failed. But
in 1997,
that was 1987. So
1987, man.
Yeah,
I can't believe that back in 1987 that they were up to these things. Those bastards.
Yeah, so that failed. But the point was the leaders who were planning these kinds of things still continued after the collapse of communism. And they kept coming out with some of the kind of same ideas. You've seen some of this already. You've seen some of this. So sacrilegious spies, Russians tried hacking Orthodox clergy. The Russian hackers indicted by the U.S. Special Prosecutor last month may have spent years trying to steal a private correspondence of some of the world's most senior Orthodox Christian figures. So
that's strange. It's really strange. Why would the Russians be trying to steal from people working for them?
Wait, you mean other Orthodox churches? No, this is them trying to gain control over it. So here's the idea. The Russian hackers indicted by the U.S. Special Prosecutor last month have spent years trying to steal the private correspondence of some of the world's most senior Orthodox Christian figures, the Associated Press has found, illustrating the high stakes as Kiev and Moscow wrestle over the religious future of Ukraine. The targets included top aides to Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew I, who often is described as the first among equals in the world's Eastern Orthodox Christian leaders. So they're trying to they were hacking the Orthodox leaders from other Orthodox churches. Interesting.
Yeah, those sons of.
Sure why they do that. Yeah, but they don't stop there. So you've seen this. I quoted it. I mean, I cited this.
Oh,
this
Tenet
was all over the place
Media.
with like
Oh, yeah,
Lauren
yeah.
Shen and so on.
Yeah, I know
So
all
right-wing
about Tenet.
influencer network.
Yeah, I know all about
Yeah,
Tenet Media.
allegedly spread Russian disinformation. Now, this was interesting because the money was funneled through RT. That's the Russian state television. So that is the television news channel of Russia, and they were the ones putting out millions of dollars to influencers to try and do all kinds of things. Mainly put out ideas that are going to cause division and those things that would toe the party line. Just pointing that out because your good buddy Jay is their new favorite guest over on RT.
Oh, he is. It's really weird though, because everyone was in that RT network, which would be Tim Pool, Lauren Chen, Lauren Southern, and several others. One of them, as you may know, is a baby, right? Interestingly enough, me and Jay have destroyed all of those people while they were with Tenet Media, including me. I destroyed almost every one of them, in fact, while they were with Tenet Media. I wrecked Lauren Chen on her own channel while she was with Tenet Media. I've wrecked Tim Pool in debates while he was with Tenet Media. Jay Dyer also has debated with several of these people. So, man, you are really tying the tight connections here, David.
Yeah, well,
but so that was, of course,
you're all attacking each other, but division would be the goal.
With that said,
Andrew,
Russians want us to be
I've not accused you of being
I haven't
accused you of being a knowing participant. I think most people are. That's what they said in the article. That's what they said in the article. There was a couple people at Tenet who knew where their money was coming from. The rest didn't. They just knew they were being paid to promote various ideas and so on.
Yeah, there was nothing. There was no. Hang on. Let me cover some of this because I'm intimately familiar with this case. I covered it in depth as I knew many of the players who were involved in it, having debated with many of them. It is, in fact, the case that all the charges were dropped against Lauren Chen, who was the last person who was even on the hook for any of this. You are correct that it was unknowing that these were Russian oligarchs who were running this operation. It was big news at the time. Everybody decried it, including the Orthodox who decried it. So I don't know what you're talking about there. I covered it ad nauseum. I was a thorn in the side of all of those people multiple times. I do have a good relationship with Tim Pool. I like to go on his channel and I like to discuss politics with him, and sometimes I'll debate with him. But Tim Pool was not on the dole of the Russians. That's ridiculous. He did, at least not that he knew of. He thought he was just taking some ad sponsorships. So that's one. The second issue that you have there is why would the Russian state media be paying these people to disseminate Russian messaging and be paying me and Jay Dyer to wreck them at the same time?
Where have I said you were being paid? Or that you knew anything about this?
I don't know. I don't know. Do you not think so? You don't think me and Jay Dyer are being paid by Russia? Then we're just unknowing stooges of their propaganda.
I haven't said anything about you.
You did. You said go talk to your comrades. Go talk to that. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, if they're my comrades, if they're my comrades, then that means I'm in on it, right?
Andrew, are you now the guy who can't take a joke if I say go talk to your comrades, and therefore I'm saying that I'm also saying you're a communist because I'm saying comrades?
Well, you seem to want to tie it in as though there was a conspiracy which involved Orthodox who you consider to be prominent streamers, and that's what we were there to discuss. I've seen no.
Yeah, that would be the Russian Orthodox. Are you Russian Orthodox?
I have seen no. I've seen no. Okay. I've seen absolutely no, none, as in zero evidence that this is the case. And by the way, ROCOR is decentralized from the Russian patriarchy. The ROCOR is not even part of that. So, like, what the hell are you talking? Even the American Orthodox who are part of ROCOR, which is the most common one, they're not even under control of that patriarchate. They have their own patriarchy. The Orthodox Church is decentralized. It does not have central authorities. We're not Roman Catholics, dude.
So you're saying that wouldn't fall into Patriarch Kirill's doctrine of the Russian world, where everyone, whether inside of Russia or outside of Russia, who just, I think he said, loves Russia and holds that up high and in esteem and so on, and loves the Russian culture and so on, and loves all of that, that the goal is for all of this to be under Russian control.
So what? What does that have to do with streamers being part of a Russian conspiracy, even unknowingly? What? What does that have to do with shit, dude? It's just some unrelated tangential nonsense. Tie it to somebody, bro.
Okay, I'll tie it. So anyway, the point is, we see what they're doing and what they're calling for, what they're trying in the 70s and in the 80s and in the 90s and after that and so on. And then we get down to the time of the Orthobros. You've seen this. Jay Dyer is a regular host of Alex Jones' InfoWars and is increasingly becoming a notable figure in the right-wing and far-right online sphere, while already being perhaps the most popular and influential Orthodox online personality. Dyer caters to this online culture in his aesthetics, conduct, and media content. His presentation of orthodoxy also takes advantage of the U.S. culture wars and plays upon the recent fascination of the right wing and far right with Russia as the bastion of moral values and Christian power. It should be noted that Dyer and most of the clergy associated publicly with patristic faith are members of ROCOR, and while Dyer selectively uses the work of neo-patristic theologians and favors neo-Palimism, his outlook on 20th to 21st century Orthodox history seems to be that of the anti-ecumenical, anti-modernity, and pro-monarchist strand in ROCOR. Because of this, it is telling that Dyer consistently and outspokenly attempts to undermine the credibility of the Orthodox Church in America and its bishops. Dyer perpetuates the defining of America as enemy of orthodoxy by frequently labeling those who defend the Orthodox Church in America Ameridox, a pejorative meant to bring their orthodoxy into question by identifying them with America as degenerate, while directing his followers towards ROCOR, the Russian Orthodox Church. Oh my God,
this is the weakest ever, dude. Here, let's go through a bunch of this, because this is just actually, this is stupid. Like, I actually expected better than this. This is actually dumb. ROCOR, one more time, David, is not under the Patriarch of Russia. Can you repeat that to me so I know that you heard what I just said? ROCOR is its own thing, right? ROCOR literally stands for Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia. That's what it stands for. Russian Orthodox Church, which is outside of Russia. That's ROCOR.
So they have no loyalty to Russia or to the Russian Orthodox Church?
And by the way, they fight all the time. They fight all the time about shit. And by the way, let's point this out. Do you know why Jay Dyer calls him a Ameridox, the OCA? He calls him a Ameridox because what he's doing is he's making a play on the word heterodox. Okay? That's why he's saying Ameridox. The whole idea here is that the OCA does have some people in it who are highly progressive, who try to embrace some degenerate values. And that's not even controversial. This is known. You would be against the same things, in fact. All right? So, yes, I don't even, like, what's the problem here, actually? What actually is it? What is it that Jay is actually doing here that you wouldn't be doing? If there was a Protestant church of your same denomination or was within your same church and you had some issues with their leadership or you had some issues with what it is they wanted to do, wouldn't you call it out too?
So just to be clear, you're claiming that ROCOR is not under Moscow's jurisdiction.
Yeah, it's outside. Yes.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Now you have Jay's protege there, David Erhan, who is Dyer's protege, a young man in his 20s from Turkey, and the man who currently runs Jay Dyer's Orthodox Christian Discord server. Erhan also does geopolitical analysis through his YouTube channel. For example, supporting Russia in its war against Ukraine, but most of his work is apologetics against Oriental Orthodox and the Assyrian Church of the East, lambasting them as heretics and
because they are heretics.
Undermine.
That's correct. They're heretics.
Undermine the agreed ecumenical statements between our churches in the eyes of the online community. Erhan is also known as a misogynist. That's not really relevant for what we're talking about here. But notice that
So
this
he's
guy's
based. So he's
interested.
based. He's based. He's a based misogynist, David. Does that upset you?
Oh, I mean, I'll read the part about him being misogynist. I just thought it's not
That's like
connected
that's
to
the
what
best.
we're,
That's
what
the
we're talking
best
about there.
part of it.
Erhan is also known online as a misogynist, having early in his YouTube career even made a video asserting that women are not made in the image of God, based according to the fathers, and consistently engaging in misogynist rhetoric on his social media platform.
That's my
I'm
favorite
pointing
part
out
of the
that
guy.
he's that what he's interested in is going after Oriental Orthodox and Assyrian Church of
Yeah,
the
you
East.
mean-
And yet these
you
guys
mean
all
people-
end up defending
They're
Russia
not-
in its
bro,
war against
They're
Ukraine,
not in communion.
even though there's no connection.
Yeah, David, they're not in communion with the Eastern Orthodox Church. So of course they go, especially the Oriental Church. All of them go after him. Even the OCA goes after him. What are you talking about? They all go after him. They're not in communion with the Eastern Orthodox Church, bro. What are you talking about? Yes, of course
I'm not even talking about him going. I'm saying that's his interest, and yet it always comes back to defending and promoting whatever Russia's doing.
Okay, show me what he's promoting that Russia's doing.
Well, you got the war in Ukraine.
So what? That's not. First of all, there's tons of people who are Americans who support geopolitically Russia over Ukraine in that war because the Ukraine is the most corrupt country on planet Earth, and they don't care about it. Right? They're like, whatever.
Wait,
they don't.
The
care.
Ukrainians are the most corrupt.
Yes.
Ukrainians
Oh,
are the
yes.
most corrupt.
Yes. 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 The most corrupt. You want to go through what happened when Joe Biden was working with Ukraine and what happened with Burisma?
Wait.
What happened with Burisma?
You've got the Russian Orthodox Church led by a KGB spy, and he's super buddies with Putin, his fellow KGB spy.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
We shouldn't be suspicious of that.
I don't even understand how you got to that. How did you even get to that from what I just said? Let me repeat myself very slowly. The Ukraine is known geopolitically and has been known geopolitically as being the most corrupt nation in Europe, the most corrupt. Biden, what he was doing was he was actually working with Ukrainian oligarchs, right, on Burisma, where he put his son as a member of the board in exchange for millions of dollars. Were you like, did you not know this or what?
No, I just wanted to hear what you had to say. I have no loyalty to Ukraine at all, and I think it's all corrupt over there, which is weird. How, we're all supposed to be cheering and rooting for one corrupt side or the other.
I'm not rooting for either. Putin.
I'd root for Ukraine just because I don't want Putin spreading, and I don't think Ukraine is going to.
I think
But
I think a
wants to.
perpetual war there likely serves the American interest. Yes, it's not, like I've never had any big feels on the Russia-Ukraine war. It's like, okay, fine. They want to fight. They want to fight. I am surprised that Ukraine held out as long as it did, but I don't think it would have without huge amounts of American going in there. And I wish we hadn't sent huge amounts of American in there. I think that that's generally speaking a mistake. We generally tend to arm people who later become our enemies. But yeah, so what? That guy, and also Ukraine. I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's a whole bastion of corruption, right? Whole bastion of it.
All right. So we can agree that Ukraine and Russia both horribly corrupt. Okay. We agree.
Do
Okay.
we have something here that's going to link Jay
That's right.
Dyer
I don't
at
either.
some point to something?
Yeah, that's right
Or
here.
me? Okay.
So here we have, to put it bluntly, besides the ill treatment I've received, this was his explaining why he wanted nothing to do with the website or the Discord server. To put it bluntly, besides the ill treatment I've received from several affiliated with this site on another platform, I do not agree with the version of orthodoxy it pushes, a mixture of radical right-wing politics, sectarian ecclesiology, eschatological frenzy, and an evangelical fundy mindset transposed onto orthodoxy, presenting online cults of personality under the guise of traditionalism, and whose only use for theology is as a ballistics against the other. I do not believe the views continually expressed on this site are representative of the Orthodox hierarchy or the best theologians of our time, let alone the ancient fathers, nor is any serious theology being done or going to be done here. Consequently, I have no desire to have my name associated with this platform. So that was his resignation. What I was interested there was...
Wait, hang on. You said that this was going to be some kind of proof of tying in with Russia. That was not proof of any tying in with Russia at all. Nothing. That's just some gossip, man, from some dude who got kicked out of a Discord. What are you talking about?
No.
Yes.
This all fits together like a perfect puzzle. Notice what he said here. The
Wait,
theology,
what
he points
perfect
out that the
puzzle?
theology,
What?
what do you mean? It's pretty
What?
straightforward.
How is hang on,
Notice he said there,
Uh-huh.
the theology there, he's pointing out, is just a way to attack Protestants and Catholics. He's saying it's just they only use the theology as a
Great. That's nice.
uh-huh.
Proof?
Yeah.
The proof? The proof is what?
All right. So here's what we have. 1970s. Russia sends KGB spy infiltrate the churches. Okay. In the 80s, Soviet Union starts breaking down. They start planning, trying to figure out how to repackage things and so on. They come up with this mixture of nationalism and orthodoxy. 90s,
That is not what
got,
that said. That it came up with a mixture of nationalism and ideology. It came up with an idea which would blend communism with other forms of ideology to repackage it for some kind of spiritualism, which, by the way, communists have done that many times throughout history. That was not the only time.
The communism part broke down, but those guys kept going forward.
Okay.
You have the same leaders.
Which
That
guys?
guy, you want to look up? He was leading. I can look it up. He was leading the ministry of something until 2015 when someone else took over. You want me to look it up for you?
No, I'll just take your word. I'll just say that the same leadership is there. Okay, so 1975. I'm sorry, 1987. These guys,
80s, 90s, all the way up to
all the way up
2015.
Let's just say all the way up to right this second. Same people.
And you look at what they're saying. They've got put everything together. Their concerns are they don't want the Orthodox Church fracturing or fragmenting because they want Orthodox versus other. Except in some cases with like Dugan, where it may even be
because ecumenism.
Versus
ecumenism is against our
else.
Religion, right? Ecumenism's against our religion, 100%. I agree. Okay,
unless it's with, then it's good.
No, it's still not good. And nobody, if you can ever,
don't let Dugan have his way.
There's never been any ecumenism. Dugan didn't say there in that tweet that he wanted ecumenism with. What he said is that it's really interesting if you look philosophically that there's a shared form of eschatology, but that's only in some bizarre philosophical sense. That is not how the did you get to the point where you're saying, wait a second, Andrew, according to Dugan, we want ecumenism. The Orthodox want ecumenism with what? That never happened. He just made it up.
No, I don't even. I mean, there he's talking about like combining eschatologies and so on, and that the Orthodox eschatology lines up with the Islam. He did say that it lines up.
He didn't say combine them.
That they both view things as like
combine them. He just said that there's an interesting notation in eschatology where it is the case that some of these patriarchs or visionaries think that we would be on one side, it would be on another side. He pointed out an interesting philosophical thing. Neat. People who talk eschatology do the same thing in Protestantism and every other denomination. Gog and Magog. That's going to be China and Russia. Heard it a million times from Protestant eschatologists, right? Whether it's true or not, I don't know because it's mental. What I'm after here is how in the world, first of all, you just lied. You just said that Dugan said that he wanted ecumenism. He didn't actually say that. He didn't say that. Not in the tweets you just showed.
You know, I'm using that as in a loose sense where this guy does seem to see things in terms of those guys over there versus
why is it that every
forces.
time I catch you saying something that's completely false, it's suddenly I just meant it loosely. It's like, just mean what you say, dude. Just mean what you say.
The aligning eschatologies, the battle between orthodoxy on one side and the Western forces and the other side.
He said it's an interesting notation, an interesting footnote that there in eschatology, the potentiality for X. Wow. It's a huge combination of him demanding that we have ecumenism. You just
smuggled that in. Your boy Putin, kissing the Quran and stuff.
You just smuggled that in. He's my boy Putin now.
Well,
is he?
Jay's Jay's
Oh,
boy.
Jay's boy Putin. Oh, okay. A second
Okay,
ago,
if
he
you
was my
condemn him,
boy
if you condemn him, that's fine. But here's the idea. They keep saying all these things
Well,
that we need
in a
we need
loose
to we need
sense.
to we need to divide up. We
I
need to
guess I do in a
divide. We
loose
need to divide up America. We need to divide up.
Uh-huh.
We need to. They start talking like promoting the
Right.
conspiracy theories, anything that's going to divide people along any sort of lines. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, right when the Russian war is breaking out, we get this advance of the Orthobros attacking in all directions at a time when you'd think that would be a really, really bad idea
It's a
for
conspiracy.
Orthodox
We're
to
working with
attack
Russia.
in all
Yeah,
directions.
hey, look, I get it. After all, I can make the loose affiliation that from 1987 until now, there's been an evil, malicious Russian plan in order to destabilize the United States. Wow, David, that is incredible. That's almost like, I don't know, every other country on earth which exists who does the exact same thing. They thrive off destabilization in the American political system, not just Russia. Basically, all of them do. That's a great insight. How do we tie that into Ortho Bros, though? What's really, David had, man, you have some compelling stuff. A guy left to the Discord and was upsetty spaghetti about it once and still didn't actually make any of the claims that you're making, interestingly enough. And then on top of that, let's look at your other very compelling evidence. It's actually excellent. Ecumenism. They're going for ecumenism. And then you give us an example where the guy didn't actually say anything about going for ecumenism. And then on top of all of that, you still haven't actually tied in at all how the Jay is tied into any of this.